Hey everyone, today's yoga session is going to focus on opening the chest. This will be great after a upper body workout or after a chest workout. You might want to use some yoga blocks or dumbbells, really anything that can elevate you from the ground. It's not required though. And if a stretch feels good, feel free to hold it for a little bit longer. Listen to your body and move at your own pace. Feel free to pause the video and drop any questions or comments that you have. And I hope you enjoy the session. Please like and subscribe. Thanks. And we'll get started in a tabletop position. And we'll begin with a couple of cat-cows. Inhaling, looking up. Exhale, rounding the back, looking down towards your mat. And just continuing at your own pace, comfortably. Inhaling, looking up, and exhaling, looking down at the mat. Opening up the back, the spine, and the chest. Noticing the breath. And we'll just stretch our arms out forward in the puppy pose. Bring the head and the chest down. The hips stay up in the air. And this is kind of a warm up to a deeper pose we'll do later on. And coming back up to tabletop. Stretch out one arm to the side. And we'll basically do a variation of puppy pose with just bringing one arm out and the other arm is bent. We just bring the head down to the mat. And let's just repeat on the opposite side. Noticing how the back feels and how the chest feels. And bringing it back up to tabletop. We'll do a couple of threaded needles, so you just raise the arm up overhead and then slide it beneath the other arm. If you want to coordinate breathing, you can, or you can just breathe naturally, inhaling as we come up and exhaling as we thread the needle down. And repeat on the opposite side. Coming back up to tabletop, let's slowly shift into the downward facing dog, preparing to walk the feet forward and come into mountain pose with the arms behind the back, fingers interlock, chest upright. Breathe into the chest and expand. Feel the chest open. Keep the head upright. Feel that stretch. As we transition down into a plank pose, and then we'll come into an upward facing dog and a downward facing dog. So lift the right leg up, we'll step forward into a warrior one position with our hands behind our back, keeping the chest open, breathing deeply. So it's up into warrior one, hands overhead, and transition to a T-top partial konasana, side angle pose, opening that side body up. And we'll come back up into reverse warrior, stretching the opposite side body, coming back to warrior one. Back down to plank pose, slower, upward facing dog, the downward facing dog. And repeat on the opposite side, stepping forward into warrior one variation on my back, opening up the chest. Breathe deep. And to warrior one. Transition into side angle pose, stretching the chest and the side body. into reverse warrior. Cartwheel the hands down into plank pose, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. And we're just going to repeat on the same two sides again. Warrior 1 variation, warrior 1, and to side angle. Come back to reverse warrior, be mindful of the breath, hands cartwheel down, plank pose to upward facing dog, pushing back into downward facing dog, taking a moment, try to bring the shoulders towards the feet, towards the mat, stepping forward to our warrior 1 variation, hands behind the back, chest up, breathe into the chest, raise up into warrior 1, opening the chest, and cartwheel down to side angle pose. And back into reverse warrior. Arms down into plank, upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Stepping the right leg forward to low lunge, hands behind back again, looking up, breathing, expanding the chest. And bringing the hands back down to the mat, upward facing dog to downward facing dog, and step the left leg forward into low lunge, hands behind back, breathe in and look up. Bring the hands back down to the mat, or down the plank, upward facing dog to downward facing dog. And we're going to do some ground stretching, so feel free to get some blocks if you have any. Place 2 blocks about shoulder width in front of us. And we're going to do an elevated puppy pose here. So figure out which height works best for you. Try to keep the grip active on the blocks. So you bring the head and the chest towards the mat. Head, hips stay up in the air. Breathe deep and feel the stretch in the chest. Move the blocks out to the side, just stretching the chest at a different angle. Still bringing the head and the chest towards the mat. Visualize breathing into the chest. And we're going to move the blocks out to the side. Keeping the hands and the grip active. You can also keep the chest active while you stretch it. And our next pose is a more restorative pose. We'll take one block and put it between our scapula on its lowest level, and then another block on its second highest level, which is going to be there to support the head. It'll kind of look like a T shape. And so, as the upper back is raised, it kind of creates a chest opening to give some relaxation in that area. And we'll just stay in this pose for a little bit, noticing the breath, noticing how the chest feels. Gently bring yourself back up. Next, we're going to do sort of like a crisscross arm stretch. So go ahead and lie almost flat and then cross. So say your right arm, it can really be any arm, over top of the other. And this is mostly for if you actually work your chest muscles. This is kind of like a nice little massage. If you don't work your chest on a regular basis, this might not feel like much of anything, just a little bit of compression. It's also stretching out the back a little bit. So just go ahead and breathe into it. We'll prepare to switch sides. And it's the same thing, just on the opposite side. We're just looking for some tension or some sort of stretch that we can visualize breathing into. Stretch your left arm out, and we'll just kind of extend it and then rotate back towards it. And just hold that stretch for a little bit. Breathe into it. We're going to move the arm kind of diagonal. We're going to do the same thing. And bring the arm up overhead, and then rotate it again. Breathing into that stretch. Now we're going to bring the arm. I would say it's about knee height, but still at an angle. So diagonal, just going downwards. And let's repeat on the opposite side. Keeping the arm and chest active. By active, I mean we're actually pushing into the ground. So we're stretching, but we want to make it an active stretch. Now let's come back up and try another puppy pose, and we'll see kind of the results of all the stretching that we've done, and see how much closer we get to the mat. Okay, and now we're going to do a little spinal twist. I'm going to use blocks for this, but you don't actually have to. Basically, I'm stacking 2 blocks side by side, and I'm going to bring a knee in and then rotate to one side. And this elevation kind of feels a little bit better for me than just a standard stretch. In the upper right hand corner, you can also see me doing it without the blocks. This is just a nice little spinal stretch, just to try to realign things as we get ready to close out our practice. And we'll repeat and just rotate on the opposite side. And let's go ahead and remove our blocks and prepare for our final pose of asana. So let's go ahead and lie flat. Thanks so much for watching. Feel free to leave comments or questions, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.